Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Are you job ready or are you just licensed? Hey, we've been talking about that all week on the podcast. We talked about where are the jobs in part one of our series. Last series, we talked about some of the changes and why drivers are leaving the industry. And then today we are going to talk about, are you driver ready? Are you ready to go? Or you just got a license and you're not sure where to go? Oh, that's what we're going to be talking about. License versus employable. There's two big difference for sure. Hey, before we get to that though, let me tell you about a place that is looking for really good drivers, and that's Rosedale Transport. And if you are someone with a good attitude and you have the basic skills, they're willing to train the rest because they look for attitude first. So check them out, rosedale.group.com. They've got local, regional, highway, and owner-operator opportunities available for the right people. And they've got 15 terminals across North America. You've seen their trucks. They're white with the giant red R on them, and their head office is in Mississauga, Ontario. So check them out. They've got terminals even in the U.S., so check them out there, rosedale.group.com. If you click on the careers tab, you can find out all the stuff going on. All right, let's find out. Are you driver ready or not?
Be sure to share the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
Oh, you know what? Being licensed, we've been talking the whole time about the driver shortage. Is there one? Is there not one? And I can tell you that most of them, it depends who you talk to. A lot of people think there is no driver shortage. If you go by the stats, there's tons of people who are licensed in this industry. As far as getting drivers in the seat is a whole nother thing. And if you talk to those people, they go, yeah, there's a driver shortage. We can't get anybody in there. Well, you know what? I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who are licensed, have not driven for a long time, not planning on going back to professional driving. Not that I don't like it. Just that's not my world anymore. Doesn't mean that it's not good for you. So, and you got to wonder. You got to really wonder. I don't know if you've noticed this, that this has been the problem in the industry since the 80s, to be honest with you. You could sit at any truck stop counter and talk to people, and you'll find someone who's losing their shirt, can't handle the industry, and then you'll find someone who's doing very well and loves their job. It's been going on forever. It's still going on. It will go on, I think, for the future. And that really is a lot to do with the person themselves, which is why it's individual. I've seen people at the same trucking company do the same thing where, you know what, half the drivers, they just can't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand why they're not getting the right runs or the right loads or whatever it is, or why they're not making the same money as somebody else in the same company doing the same job. You know what? It's just a matter of a lot of it's a matter of your mindset. But you know what? The company is going to go by who they can rely on, who's taking care of their equipment, who's being professional. Those are the things that the company is worried about. So if you are those things, this should be a no-brainer for you. Right? We talked about it in the last episode, right? Do you treat your trucking career as a career, or is it just a job to you? If it's just a job to you and you actually don't care whether you lose it next week, if another job with the same money or more came next week, would you go? Or are you here for the long term and you go, okay, I want to make more money, but I really like trucking. What can I do to make more money within the industry? And that's where a lot of people go. Are you reliable? I've always said that trucking's so easy. You just need to be presentable. You just need to show up, be on time, maintain your equipment, and be somebody that's easy to work with. And you are done. You are really done. That's all you need to work with. So it's amazing how many people do not get that. I don't understand that. I'm not sure why, because accountability is key, especially in this industry. And we've talked reputation. I've been talking branding for a long time. I talk personal brand for drivers. You'll hear some more of that later on in the month. But your reputation is there before you are. And I can tell you, my friends, all the recruiters talk to each other. They're all friends. I'll be at Truck World in another couple weeks, and I can tell you that they are all going to be side by side. They all chat. They know each other. I go to conferences. They're all in the same room, sitting at the same tables. It's not as competitive in there as you think. They're talking. They may or not be talking about the right drivers, but they're talking about, who's there and who's not. That's what they're going to be talking about. So your reputation does really, it precedes you. As we know. And if you're wondering what personal brand is what they say about you when you're not in the room. Just think about that for a minute. What's your company saying about you when you're not in the room? All right, so that's one thing. So how do you define yourself as somebody who's employable and good to be with, and somebody that's just got a job? So we talked about pre-trip inspections last week. Are you doing yours? Not a rushed one, not one on paper that you just check off and you're not actually checking anything. Did you actually, are you actually looking at your truck to say, yes, it's safe to go down the road? That is what you want to be looking at. Time management. Are you doing it? Oh my gosh. I don't know how many people just look at the GPS. They actually don't know where they're going until they get there. I say to my granddaughter, I'm the opposite, because I go, okay, I know where I want to go. I just don't know how to get there. It's the opposite of what I see most people doing in the industry nowadays. You know, trip planning has always been a thing that I've really been into. And I can tell you from my experience, even in today's climate, trip planning will save you money, and it may not make you money, but it will save you money. And I'm not talking about waiting. You may have to wait, but if you are trip planning, you're going ahead, you're missing traffic, you're not allowing yourself to be kind of worn out when you get there, you're presentable, you're in a good mood. That's going to take you farther than any quick pay and leaving out. Like, I see people sitting in traffic and I go, why? Now I understand it's not always, driver control. But a lot of times it's just drivers not thinking about when they need to go out, not thinking about things like brakes and all that kind of stuff that can really help you actually in the long run. Communication is always a big thing that we talk about here, and I see so many drivers do it wrong. So many drivers have not learned how to communicate with dispatch or with their customers or anything like that. You are the salesperson for your trucking company. If you have not figured out how to communicate properly and be somebody that's cool to be around, you're going to have a lot of issues in this industry. Cleaning your truck, okay, outside, whatever. Inside should be clean. I'm always big on the inside and outside. Are you organized? Is your paperwork organized? Do you have a professional image? These are all things that are going to make you way more employable than someone who's just got a license and doesn't care. The skills are one thing, right? So can you back up and do all of that kind of stuff? Do you know how to secure your load? But even if you don't, everybody's got to learn. So it depends where you are. But are you willing to listen? This is the thing we see a lot of people. They're not even willing to listen. They don't even want to learn. They don't even want to have the conversation to find out how they can be better. Right now, there's a whole career. I've heard this more times than I can. There's a whole career on going to sit somewhere in a business district where there's a lot of warehouses and offer to just be a guy who goes around and helps back in trucks to docks. When did that become an actual thing? It's really a bad thing to do. Hey, your safety record is going to follow you. We were talking CVORs earlier this month. Driving safe, all of that kind of stuff is going to be really, important for you. So, understanding the regulations, your compliance, being defensive, being safe, all those kind of things, and willingness to learn. I think this is the big thing here, willingness to learn specialized freight or new opportunities. If you keep saying no, I talked with, what was his name? I forget it. His name's drawing a blank now, but he was with Bison. He was a veteran driver, award-winning driver, and I asked him, I said, why have you gone so far in your career and others haven't? And he said, I just kept saying yes. He said, they gave me a new truck to drive. I said, yeah, I'll try it out. They gave me a new run. I tried it out. He kept doing things like that. Where a lot of us, me included, get stuck to our trucks and go, I don't want to change trucks. He was willing to do that. So I'm going to leave that to you because that's a personal thing. But keeping yourself clean, keeping your driving record clean, keeping your resume clean, that's violations, understanding CVOR and how it's affecting you as a driver brand. Hours of service display, hours of service are there to make sure that you take breaks. But most people go by the regulations and they don't think about how does your body work? Maybe you got to follow the regulations, but you don't have to follow them right to the very end. You don't have to work a 14-hour day. can you work a 12-hour day? Are you taking breaks? There's a lot of drivers who don't take breaks, that need to take breaks for their health, if nothing else. So thinking about that. And then how are you staying physically fit on the road? And that means mental health as well. Managing fatigue, health on the road, stress, avoiding burnout. Are you doing things on the road other than smoking and carrying on that can help you? There's some people that take bicycles and stuff like that. Some people work out in the truck stop. I'll leave that to you, but what are you doing to manage that so that you're focused and alert and doing all those kind of things? Routine is a big thing. I found I even used to run by a routine. You kind of eat at the same time every day, and I used to like to walk a lot on the road, not on the road, but go for walks. Be careful where you are, but of course those things are a lot of things to do with and keeping up with your stuff. Again, we've been talking Red Seal for a long time now. What certifications do you have? What documents? Can you take a course? Can you do something to make yourself better than the next guy or next gal? Doing those kind of things. What are your goals? Do you want to do long haul? Do you want to do local? A lot of drivers will do long haul, then they want to come in the city because they just need a break from the highway. And then they come in the city and they hate it and they go back to long haul. So understanding what you're doing, what's the next progression for you in your career? That's what you need to really think about. And then, of course, thinking about your finances and all that. I'll leave that all alone because that's a lot of personal stuff there. But being ready, I always was ready for opportunities whenever they came up. And just be straight with your employer. Just say, if you don't want to run California, don't sign up with a company that goes to California. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I really don't want to go there, but if you need me to, I will go. If you don't want to go to California, can you choose somebody else? But make sure you have a valid reason other than I just don't feel like going. That's not really the valid reason. They need to move the freight too, right? So if you're that kind of person who never wants to go anywhere, and I've worked with those kind of people, you're going to be out of business before anything else happens. So present yourself properly, ask questions, and some of the mistakes that really hold you back as a driver, I'm going to tell you about right after I tell you about where you can get some really cool training if you're looking at a career. So stay with us here. Before we get on, let me tell you about Ontario Truck Driving School. They are really one of the top-notch schools in Ontario, Canada here. There are others. They are one of them. They've been around since 1978. They've got 9 locations throughout the province of Ontario, and they really are school that'll give you the proper training. They've got really good courses, good trainers, all that kind of stuff. So check them out. Ontario Truck Driving School, OTDS.com is where you can learn all about them for sure. I'm going to tell you now what you can do, why drivers are not getting ahead, and it's by what they're doing. Stay with us.
By far my favorite station.
You're the best. Oh, yeah.
I love you guys.
All right, so if you want to get yourself taken out, not taken out, if you want to get yourself to where you're not one of the people they choose when you're or someone that's struggling to move their career, I want you to ask yourself these questions, okay? So I want you to ask yourself these 4 questions to yourself as you're listening to this, as you're driving down the road. In what you're doing today at the truck, are you doing the bare minimum or have you gone beyond the basic standards? So think of maybe your pre-trip this morning. Did you do a really full pre-trip or did you do the basics? Did you just kick tires and watch lights, or did you actually inspect and do the air brake inspection and all that kind of stuff and make sure everything was working good and all your fluids were filled up, all that kind of stuff? Okay, so that's the first one. Are you doing the bare minimum? Second trivia question. Are you ignoring small issues until they become big ones. So do you have something wrong with your truck and you're going, you know what, I'm just going to wait until the thing falls off? Is there something bugging you that's kind of small now about your career, but you're afraid to talk to somebody about it? Trust me, watch that one. I had that one happen to me. I want you to think about it. Is there something that's small right now, but could potentially become big that you maybe should be handling right now? I want you to think about that. Okay, I want you to think about your attitude. Question 3, do you have a poor attitude in communication, or do you have good attitude in communication? Are you somebody that people want to be around? Are you a good team player, or are you somebody that people just cringe when they see you coming into the yard? That's it. All right. Here's your 4th question. Have you been jumping jobs without a plan? Are you moving from different jobs just because someone says they're going to pay you 50 cents more or $1 more? Or do you actually have a plan of where you want to go for your career? That's probably one of the big ones that you need to really listen about. All right. So here's what we talked about in this episode. If you're somebody who's proactive and looking for opportunity and doing things well, you're going to have a great career. If you're somebody who's just doing the bare minimum and you could care less and you're really not in it, you're not invested in in the trucking industry, I can tell you you're not going to make it now. You may want to start looking for something to do. Okay. And then if opportunities come along, are you willing to say yes? You might be the perfect person for the opportunity, but then if you say no, so again, thinking about your long-term career and where it's going to go. So what's something you can do today? What's one habit you can do today to make yourself a better driver? Think about it. You can let me know in the comments if you want, or you can just keep it to yourself and make an action plan. But that's what I would do. Set up an action plan. Get a reason to why are you there? The trucking industry will get better on its own, hopefully. It's been going the wrong way, but I think we all want it to save it. For most of us, it's been a pretty good career. What's your next step? All right. I hope that made sense for you. I hope you enjoyed that for sure. Got you thinking in there, doing some of that kind of stuff. Hey, before we go, let me tell you a little bit about DriverCheck. That's right. They got their Fitness for Duty Summit. If you're somebody in HR and management, you might want to go to that Fitness for Duty Summit in October. You can go to drivercheck.ca to learn all about that. They also do drug and alcohol testing, cannabis in the workplace safety. So those are the kind of things that you want to figure out. You should probably check out drivercheck.ca. They got resources for you there. Guys, be safe on the road. Have a great career. You can design your career. I don't think many truck drivers realize that. The experienced ones, the successful ones have. You can design your career and you will make it for sure. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Subscribe whenever you're listening to us. Join us for our show Chords and Chrome, Monday nights at 7 o'clock. I know you're going to love it, and we will see you at the shows coming up. See you later. Bye for now.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.